everyone, so today's video is all about the question, can I wear red? And the answer is, of course you can. We just need to find you the correct shade, that's all. So I'm Nicola, I'm a qualified personal stylist as well as a colour analyst. Today we're going to be taking a deeper dive into finding out the correct shade of red using myself as the example. And I'm also going to be sharing some top tips to help you at home narrow down your choices of wearing your correct shade of red as well. So let's take a closer look at those reds. Okay, so these are the drapes here that I actually use when I'm doing a colour consultation with a client. But you can see here, all of the reds, they're so similar to each other. And to the naked eye, they're just red, right? Well, if you take a closer look, you can actually see they've got very different undertones to them. So we've got the cooler tones at the back here being the summer, got a winter, spring and autumn. Now you can see here as we're coming to the back of the palette, you have got a blue undertone. When you run through the front two, which are your warmer shades, you have a very orange undertone to these. Now, as any of you know, with colour analysis, we are split into 4 different seasons. We've got spring, summer, autumn, winter. So we've got the summer one here and the winter here. They've got a very blue undertone to them, making them part of the cooler season versus the warmer seasons being the spring palette as well as the autumn palette. Now, these have a very clear orangey undertone. They have a very warm feeling to them. So you may be thinking, how do I know if I'm a warm skin tone or if I'm a cool skin tone? So here's my top tip for you at home. What I want you to do is in very natural daylight. So that's either go over to a very large window or go outside and have a look, not too bright so you're overexposed, but in a very natural light. Like I'm sat here today, it's a very natural daylight in here. And I want you to have a look at your wrist. So you're now seeing mine in a close up here down the side. What you're looking for is, are you more green veined or are you more blue veined? Or are you a complete mixture of both? If you're a green undertone to your veins, you're more likely to be a warm skin tone. If you have more blue veins, you'll be a cool skin tone. Or if you have both, you might find that you're somebody that sits in between the palettes. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means that there's potentially more colours available to you. But in the first instance, to narrow those choices down, definitely have a look at those vein colours. And the ones that I tend to focus on, especially if you've got more of a mixture on the underside of your wrist, definitely have a look on the back of your hand, and that will give you your biggest indication as well. So as you can see from mine, I'm a definitive warm skin tone. They are very green, my veins. Now, obviously vein colour is not the only deciding factor that we look at when we're analysing anyone's colour. There are multiple factors to come into play here. We look at your eye colour, how your eye and your pupil is formed. We look at your natural hair colour or the hair colour that you were born with. We look at your underlying skin tone and whether or not your skin darkens in the sun, because all of those factors will never change throughout your lifestyle. So no matter how much we age, our eye colour is not going to change. We can't change the colour of the hair that we were born with. So all of those things make up part of your colour analysis, as well as the most fun part, which is the draping of the fabrics. So if you're green veined, you're more than likely going to be a spring or an autumn. So you can be looking for those warmer shades of red, having that orange underlying tone for the base colour. So you can see that running through both the spring and the autumn palette there. And if you're blue veined, you'll be looking for the blue undertone within the fabrics or the garments within the shops. As you can see, you've got a clear bluey undertone running through both of those drapes, being the summer and the winter. So let's move on to the most important part with any client journey for a colour analysis is the draping, because that's how we can physically see what those colours are doing to our skin tone and our facial features. So I've added in my rather lovely white cape here, which I use for all of my client consultations because I like to completely neutralise the colour that is available for them to see. So we use a white cape to do that. We also wear minimal makeup, so you may have already been sat there thinking, she looks really tired today. I am really tired today. It's been an insanely busy few months here at All About the Outfit, but not complaining, absolutely loving it. I have got some natural dark circles under my eyes right now, so I've used no concealer because I want you to be able to see that on camera, and hopefully we can show you with the drapes then what I'm looking at as I'm moving through the different coloured drapes. Okay, making me feel even more exposed now. Let's move that hair back and have a whole face on show. First of all, we're going to place the summer red. We always do it in a certain order because it makes it easier for the naked eye to be able to see. So automatically, as soon as you add any colour, it's like, oh, that looks nice. But that's because we've got no comparison at the moment. So this one's got the bluey undertone, and automatically, as soon as you add any colour in comparison to stark white, especially like me being a spring, stark white does not particularly complement me very well. As soon as we add any colour on, it instantly lifts the skin. But let's move through the other drapes as well. Here is the winter red. Already I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. This is coming more into my palette now. I'm a very red girl, so I do like the brighter colours. Moving on with the spring red. And already I'm like, oh, I really like this one. Even though I know this is actually my colour. I'm looking at this thinking, yes. I will tell you what I see in a minute. We'll go through all of the colours first. And now for the second warm base one, we have got the autumnal one. So I always say to my clients, as you keep moving through the colours, you're like, oh, yeah, I like that. Oh, yeah, I like this one as well. As the more colours that we're working through, you're then starting to compare them to each other and think, oh, which one do I prefer? Now, I'm not looking for if you like the actual colour. The colour is irrelevant because there are so many different shades of each colour within each colour season. So I'm not looking if you like that particular shade of red or orange or yellow or blue or whatever the colour is that we're working on the day. What I'm really looking for is what that tone of colour does to your skin. So as we start taking these away, what I'm looking for is, does any of these colours, does it highlight the circles underneath here? Is it giving me any shadow around my mouth? Or I could show it as a shadow underneath the chin. I've also got some skin pigmentation across the top of my forehead that I'd usually cover up with concealer. So I'm looking, do any of the drapes highlight that, or does it help to hide it, which is what you want your colours to do. Okay, so moving on to the darker shades. So I really like those first two shades. They've got a very warm undertone to them. So in theory, they should really suit me, both of them, but one should have a preference to it. So let's take it off as we go to the winter. Now, I don't know about you, but I can already start to see that I'm getting more of my circles here. So let's compare those side by side. As you can see in the screenshot there, we've got the spring on me, which I think highlights the skin beautifully. It's covering up any of the blemishes. It's also helping to hide and disguise those under eye circles, whereas when you're looking at this colour, it's drained me. So let's do an even fairer comparison and remove it to the summer. Now when you come to here, again, when you're looking at a comparison into my actual season, which is the spring, you can really see how much this colour drains my skin of life. I've started to have quite a grey effect and I've gone very dark under the eyes now. Also got quite a shadow forming underneath the chin. I'm starting to just look a little bit unwell and very tired. It's really bringing out all the things that I want to hide without having to wear concealer, makeup or anything else. So you can really see the differences between it. So I definitely need that warmer base. So let's switch it back to the spring and instantly you can see a boost there. The bluey undertone, orange undertone. It's a huge, big difference to how much that highlights my skin and makes me look with a healthy glow. And then almost like I've slightly dyed inside. So I think we can safely establish the bluey undertone drapes are 100% not for me. They just drain my skin. So therefore, they're always going to make me look the worst version of myself. So I definitely need these warmer tones. But let's just take a closer look at the autumn one against the spring. Either way, both of these colours technically should work. But I still feel that the autumn is just a little bit too much of a deeper colour for me. There. I just think, let me know in the comments your thoughts as well. Again, they're both warm undertones, so in theory, I should be able to get away with both. So let's have the autumn one on here. If you look at the spring one, it's just giving my skin a little bit more of a lift, a little bit more of a boost. It's bringing out all of my best features. You know, I love the colour of my eyes, but it really highlights those features for me and making my skin look as healthy as possible. It's giving me that overall glow and that confidence that I need. And also it is my love of the bright colours, so I really enjoy wearing the bright colours. I wouldn't be adverse to wearing an autumnal shade, and I have often done before. You may have seen from previous videos, I've got a really lovely, it's like an orange rust colour dress. Absolutely love that shade. That is very autumnal and that works really well for me. But this particular red, I still feel is a little bit too dark for me in comparison to the spring. So let me know your thoughts. But yeah, when we go between the two, just the bright, I can just see it. It just lifts me. The spring being underneath, it definitely lifts and boosts my skin far more. So yeah, I'm a spring through and through. So I hope you've seen how much of a big difference wearing your correct shade of colour really makes to how that affects. A lot of people ask me like, does the colour analysis really matter? It's so vital. If you're going to spend the time investing in your wardrobe, you do want to have a look at your colours. You know, and even a simple way of doing that at home, like I say, is checking that bane colour, narrow down those choices to either those warm colours or those cooler shades. That way, at least you're in the right sort of ballpark. But obviously, if you're wanting more answers and you want to get very specific with your individual personalised season, that's when you'd go and see a colour specialist like myself or someone in your local area. But at least you can narrow down those choices just by looking at whether you're a warm or a cool skin tone. And the best way possible is to actually try things on. So I always say to my clients, even when you're trying garments on in the shop, there's so much artificial lighting in a shop. So always keep your tags on everything until you get home, try it on in front of a mirror and have a look at what the colour is just doing to yourself within natural daylight, and compare it to similar shades that you already have in your wardrobe and see which ones are your best, and you can start to see those ones that are really starting to bring out those features that you have. You may have some lovely freckles that you want to have on show. You may want to really highlight your eyes, but you can certainly see the differences. So always try those fabrics and always try those garments on at home within natural daylight to see what they're doing to your skin. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video on taking a deeper dive into colour analysis using reds as the example today. If so, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. And if you've enjoyed this video, why not check out this one here.